Alright, welcome back, people, great people, welcome back, beautiful Wednesday, everyone. Hope you are having a great weekend. We continue with TitanQuest after Dragons and Online yesterday. Indeed, the father of 3D isometric action RPG games, TitanQuest, here. And this is day number 8, as you can read from the title description. We are doing an epic difficulty run to unlock the Embers expansion difficulty on the Embers expansion, which only works on legendary difficulty. Yo, how's it going, Patrick? How's it going? Sorry, always that I can never be perfectly on time at 5 p.m. o'clock. But well, I was 11 minutes late. Sorry, because I know that it takes precious time from your time zone in that sense, and I know how much you love the stream. So yeah, pretty much I always feel bad about that when I'm coming back home from the from teaching English from the institute. There, I think, ugh, I'm going to arrive late for Patrick because of those things. But well, yesterday we did chat about an interesting concept, the concept of monogamous relationships in society and how it was actually solved. It's something that I don't get the chance to talk about frequently in that sense. Most people don't care about that. Don't worry, just keep up the stream. No, well, thank you, Patrick. In that sense, thank you, thank you, and no, because anyways, the time is important in that sense, and I am never perfectly on time. What I can really promise you is that if the stream keeps growing and it really turns into something I can dedicate more time to, I will take it even more seriously in that sense. As it is, but well, you know that I also have to help my parents with the condo management. My family's business is that is what gives us a lot of money. It's the reason why I really don't need to work to eat and those things. In that sense, I am an only child, and while it has a lot of drawbacks, it does inheriting that bring brings some benefits, but also responsibilities that I have to deal with. So yeah, pretty much. Okay, where you live alone or with your no with my parents, Patrick. I am. Well, I don't know if you've ever visited Italy or Spain or any of your European neighbors. Culture is quite different for an Italian compared to Northern Europe and the United States. Really, here, no one is going to look at you weird if you stay at home helping your parents. In fact, that is pretty much the definition of a good Italian child, because you are taking care of your parents. It's the opposite of the United States in that sense. Roman tradition dictates that, on the contrary, abandoning your parents is being a motherfucker bad person. It's the opposite, because I know that in the United States, for example, it is expected. Yeah, in Hungary, if you live with your parents at 25, you are not a man, basically. Different. Yeah, well, no, it's not like that. All right, we made it to Scandi after a long journey last time. Yeah, no, it's not like that. That's one of the things that I thank my our. The thing is that a lot of countries left the tradition to my Roman ancestors, to Italians, that family is the base of society for Italians. You know that I'm Argentine, and an Argentine is basically an Spaniard. An Italian who speaks Spanish. Some of us are Spaniards. I am Italian. In my case, I am Lombard. In that sense, as I told you, I have Italian citizenship, and my residence is in Lombardy, the northwestern section, right below the cone of Switzerland, a small town called Città di Meda. there. That's where I'm inscribed, and because of that,
Something for our king? What is that? A plant?
and because of that, what you are describing, which is also the same rule for the United States and Northern Europe, which is men are expected to leave home at the well, men, everyone is expected to leave home at the age of 18, or otherwise he's a fucking virgin loser. No, no, in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal, and some southern islands uh, next to Italy, I can assure you that because of we are directly descended from the Roman Empire, um, it's not like that, except maybe in big cities where they have absorbed really the a more Germanic barbarian tradition, that the tendency was to have separate clans rather than families as a unit. I live in the house not of my parents but of my grandparents that passed away. My parents on the other side as well. They said they would be happy if I could stay with them forever, but they know me that I can't. I don't see why. Never
We
forget your
cannot open this
parents.
door
Never
today.
forget your parents, Patrick. Of course, what you are listening is very, very culturally biased from me because I
Fine
am
weather we have today, isn't
uh,
it?
Argentine, which is and Italian, which is Spaniard plus Italian. So it's a quite, I know it's a quite biased opinion in a direct comparison with
This door is
um,
locked.
with uh, with the Germanic Northern European tradition, and as a direct consequence, the one in the United States as well, which is dominant now in that sense. So pretty much.
Can it be true? You are the one promised to us.
Uh,
The hero
what do you
of
mean
the
by
south.
on the other side as
The
well?
vanquisher
You mean
of
like on the
titans and
opposite?
gods.
You mean like what I
When
described
my
of uh, northern
the daughter
European
set out
tradition
to
of
find
leaving
you,
home at the age of
I
18?
didn't believe in your
No,
existence.
no, no. For example, Patrick, as I told you,
Here you are,
on your side, basically. Oh,
and
you mean the
reckless
Roman
in
tradition,
the
like
power of
like more family
numbers.
oriented,
You are
like
a
they want to
voice
keep
in
you
the
home.
dark
I,
time.
I honestly don't see anything wrong
Perhaps
with that. It's
our
how our
salvation,
Roman ancestors lived.
the Einherjar,
I
will
think
those
it's
pass on.
absolutely stupid thinking that a
This
person
is locked.
is some kind of useless scag of society, because at the end of the scag of society is something like that, just because he loves his parents. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think it's absolutely shitty, and I think it is done on purpose to cover the deficiency of having shitty parents in society who are fucking illiterates and uneducated, because not all parents are amazing like yours and mine and a lot of people, and they think that having children is basically a game. They think it's basically a game up until 18, and then I can wash my hands. And no, for any fortunately in Rome was established, and common sense also establishes it, that is a responsibility, and a responsibility does not end when your children is 18 years old. It's when you die, because there's a blood relationship with the person. The person shares your blood, and you cannot just simply abandon your children because he makes it to 18 years old. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some people are prepared at that age, some others are not, and some others simply, in the case of our Italian tradition, simply understand, just like our ancestors did, that taking care of your parents as well, helping them and your grandparents. I told you the story that during the shitty pandemic, that China was never, I will always repeat this, that China was never held accountable for the shit that it did. It was never held accountable. That during the pandemic, my parents had to go to the hospital and I was left alone with my grandmother of 92 years. That I had to basically keep alive for a week alone on my own because no one could come help me because it was a lockdown. And my question is, am I an idiot because I bad parents are taming the kid instead of teaching it exactly? But here's my question, Patrick: am I an idiot or some kind of what you described? You are not a man, basically. Am I not a man, basically, because I kept my grandma alive because I live under the same house that was from my grandparents and now my parents and me. Am I not a man because I kept my grandma that I loved deeply alive? I'm sorry, anyone who says that, I can only say that the person is a putrid illiterate. I'm sorry. Anyone who accuses me of that, I can only laugh and tell him that he's a putrid illiterate. Um, in that sense, sorry. Love your parents, love your grandparents. If you want to stay with them forever, honestly, do so because you will have plenty of time for then. It's also a very safe financial solution for saving, so that's a huge plus. Well, let's not even mention about the shitty situation, the shitty economic context that the Obama administration left us in, sadly, in a lot of cases, with the financial bubble and those things, and now feeding, and now with a lot of EU countries feeding China, sadly. But besides that, besides that, the key, Patrick, my humble opinion. If after this anyone wants to think watching this as a YouTube bot, uh, watching this as a YouTube bot, want to think that if you have to leave your home at the age of 18, it's perfectly fine. I understand it's culturally something that happens to a lot, and it's a perfectly valid solution for your life. But I will tell you this. Now I read it, Patrick. Now I read it. I see the message. I'll tell you this. You, as children, you will have plenty of time. You will have plenty of time. You all, in general, as anyone watching this as a YouTube, you'll have plenty of time to spend on your own, trying to form your family and etc. and all of those things that everyone is so crazy about. You'll have plenty of time to try to do so with a nice woman and everything and etc. You'll have plenty of time, but once your parents die, once your parents are already dead, they don't have that time. They don't have that time. So cherish the time with your parents. And if you want my 2 cents, if that implies taking care of them, do so. Take care of them. Don't be bad children. Don't be bad children. Our Roman ancestors were right. Love them, spend time with them, with your grandparents as well if you have them alive, if you have the great benefit of having them alive. I fortunately had that benefit up until I was 23 with my grandmother and 18 with my grandfather, so 92 and 85. So if you have that great gift that life gave you, don't waste it spending time with I don't know people of your age 100% of the time. Yes, have friends, have it's good to have people of your age that you spend time with or younger and etc. But your grandparents, they don't have the time that you have, so be respectful of that. They don't have all of that time, and you will understand it. The problem is that no one will of our age understands it because we are all way too young in that sense. But then once you are old, you will understand it, look back, and you will regret not spending time with your parents and grandparents in that sense. Patrick, in the case of your father, he moved out when he was 22. Had me when he was 25. So in Hungary, we're a speed running family. Well, in my case, I am the child of older parents in that sense. Um, if I remember correctly, both of my parents were close to 40 when they had me. A bit less, a bit less, a bit less. 30 something for each of them, but 38, 37, more on the older side of it. Um, and yes, really, my in the case of my father, he also moved out, not at that age, because Argentina has had a convoluted economic story. But yeah, pretty much he was always independent. He always tried to since 18, I think. No, wait, yes, yeah, at 25. Yeah, he was buying the house directly. I think he moved a bit more at 27, 28, but he was paying for his first house. He didn't want to rent in that sense, more or less like that. If I remember correctly, then I have to ask him. So, if you want my 2 cents, Patrick, about the topic that you were mentioning, I think it's absolutely stupid, and that anyone who tells you what you said, that you are not a man because you don't move out of your house. I think the person is a putrid illiterate. I'm sorry, and you know that I don't insult generally. I think the person is a putrid illiterate, way too ignorant to take into account his opinion, and that he will regret. The person will regret once his parents or her parents um, pass away, not having spent time with them like a good
You have no more
family does. My 2 cents. My 2 cents. My humble perception of it. I think it's absolutely stupid. Um, Anyone could say that I'm biased because of what I told you, that culturally, in Italy, that is really the opposite of the Germanic tradition. We learned from the best, I'm sorry, from the Romans, not from the Germanic tribes that were savage back then. I am sorry, and that stays truth even up until today, in that sense. But I bet a lot of people, regardless of nationality, will be able to understand why I said so. I would tell you that saying that is an absolute stupidity. The maturity of a person cannot be measured by his detachment of his parents. The maturity of a person has to be measured by the depth of his thoughts. Because I could be, imagine this, imagine that I live alone, right, Patrick? Imagine that I live alone, but I am smoking weed all day, basically killing myself. I am just going out without any kind of discipline or deep thought about the universe or metaphysical reality at all, or just as we discussed yesterday, having indiscriminate sex all over the place like a putrid animal, and pretty much that's what's the difference between a boy and a man. The depth of his thoughts, if you ask me. His mind. His mind. And especially if he can explain why he acts like he acts. The depth of the thoughts. And that includes a girl and between a girl and a woman. This is the same. We are talking about maturity as the underlying issue here. Maturity doesn't have to do with if you live with your parents or not at all. It has to do with the depth of your thoughts. Because as I told you just right now, I got a bit ahead of the question. Imagine that I lived alone, right? When you asked me the question, and I told you no, I left my home at 18, and pretty much I live alone instead of what I told you. Would that affect the appreciation that you have for all of the thoughts that I have been previously telling you about? I don't know, when we discussed yesterday about lab, or the previous month or so that you've been on the streams. Would it change it? Really not. Really not. The thoughts would have the same depth, potential. They would understand the arrangement of molecules and particles in time and space much better than a lot of people who live alone, honestly speaking, unless you think otherwise. But I bet we can safely say that most people will not be able to reach some of the level of depth of the discussions we've had. So, can someone be mature? Can the person be considered mature if he cannot even explain why he acts like he acts? I would say no. Second, the people that we are talking about, imagine that I'm living alone instead, but I cannot tell you anything about history or my thoughts or anything. It really does not have to do with that. It really does not have to do with that. The difference between a mature person and an immature person is that the mature person can have those deep thoughts and can explain why he acts like he acts and why other people act like they act. That is the difference, if you ask me. Why? Precisely why? Because that way the person will have better judgment, and maturity is related to judgment, discern between good and evil, which are objective for precisely. Yes, you can have a cool car when your mind is completely empty and behind those eyes there are not a single soul power. Exactly. Well, with other words, but it's like that. In that sense, as I was mentioning to you, the person won't be, even if he lives alone, maybe is unable to explain 99% of the things of the routine that he does during the day. It's like a zombie. Because he didn't spend time introspecting himself or herself. In the case of a woman, it's the same in the case of maturity. the person has not done an introspection, a reflection on who he is, or who she is in the case of a woman. But and no amount of solitude, I guess, because the person in the hypothetical example just believes he's mature because he lives alone, I guess, or with a partner. That really does not determine the depth of his thoughts. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. If you don't understand why you do what you do, why the universe works like it works, why other people behave like they behave, when you don't spend any time reflecting upon anything about yourself or what surrounds you, how can you call yourself mature in that sense? It's impossible. It's impossible. You can have a million cars. You can live alone. You can leave your parents' home at the age of, I don't know, let's make it more exaggerated, at 15, I don't know. Be born on the streets, I don't know, would be the case. Would it fix the fact that your mind is empty? Does it fix it, objectively? That you haven't reflected upon anything about your life and anything? Does it, Patrick? No. So, in that sense, it's way too difficult to call that person mature when he does not think. If you don't think, you cannot discern between good and evil. And if you cannot discern between good and evil, you have no judgment, no morality. If you have no morality and no judgment, how I cannot fathom or picture how you could describe or qualify the person as mature as a direct consequence of this. See that it doesn't have to do with how alone the person is in that sense. And I think precisely because of that, Roman tradition that inherited the Greek sages, they brought them to teach their children, was a bit more prudent, a bit more intelligent, because at the end of the day you want your children to learn from people who are intelligent, who were better than you initially, like it was with Greece and Rome. You want them to be taught by the best, instead of what happened in Germanic tradition, in which it was all oral, there was no written language, and really they were not connected to these Greek scholars. And that is exactly where this difference in perception of the concept of family and maturity was born of, precisely in that sense. It is true that modernly, maybe because of American influence that derives from British influence, that derives from the Germanic influence originally, you may see what you told me before, this concept that people who don't leave home at the age of 18 are not men, and I can only just laugh and tell you that anyone who mentions that to you is absolutely ridiculous as an individual, Patrick. Sorry, it's like that. Because of all of the reasons that I gave you. I don't know how useful all of the reasons that I constantly give you are, but I can bet on one thing. I always tell you things that surprise you, and that is important because it gives variety. That's the important thing. It will give you variety. Can you live a happy and fulfilled life without any knowledge or reading or any type of self-improvement? No, it's sadly impossible, Patrick. It is sadly impossible. Have you ever read the allegory of the cave of Plato? No, I don't know. But Google that. Allegory of the cave of Plato, or I don't know. In English, I presume it's like that. I translated it right now. The allegory of the cave of Plato in ancient Greece. That was sold again 2,000 years ago. In that sense. Basically, it's like this: cavemen, right? Poor Plato didn't have our means of entertainment and anything. He was in Greece and he was analyzing what his ancestors had done even before him, in that sense. So he started analyzing cavemen. He started observing metaphysical reality like precisely we do here every day. He started analyzing it. So, cave. Imagine a cave with cavemen. Basically, people. Cave, cave. Think about the cave. And the cave is where all of the cavemen are in, precisely. They live their happy lives there and etc. But they never see the day of light out of fear of being eaten by a fucking prehistoric tiger or some shit like that, a fucking dinosaur.
How
So,
can I be of service?
Plato mentions that one day one of the cavemen did the impossible and got out of the cave. But why did he get out of the cave? Because the light of the cave, the light of the sun, came through the cave. So he perceived observation, something that relativism eliminates, observation rather than opinion. He observed the light and he followed it. And he got out of the cave. And he discovered that outside of the cave there was vegetation and animals to hunt and everything. Not all animals were more powerful than them and they could tame them, and etc. And that's how humanity developed. If the initial caveman hadn't, in a hypothetical situation, if he hadn't had the courage of getting out of the cave, would he would it have been possible for humanity to develop? Would have it been possible? No. And the same way that happened, if a mind is not fed by all of the things that you are mentioning, knowledge, reading, or intellectual self-improvement, it remains inside of the cave. And when the mind remains inside of the cave, just like the caveman, it's more like an automaton. Acts by instinct, as the neural connections are replaced by pulsions, by instincts. And I bet you can see it in empirical evidence. Most people do their daily routines every day without reflecting upon anything of this at all. And I don't know if you agree with me, Patrick, but from the perspective of an outside observer, you can tell it's an unconscious process in which the mind is not having any neural activity. I don't mean by this that people are stupid. I mean that they act with like a muscle reflex rather than in their everyday lives, rather than decisions based on constant judgment and observation. Just that. Society is also responsible for it in that sense, because of the economic situations and everything that don't give them the time to think about it. I would give all societies a bit of time to reflect upon it. For example, in ancient Rome, Patrick, just so you have an idea, you know that at night, well, few people know this, at night, a lot of people couldn't really sleep. They didn't have medicine and those things. The Romans used to meditate at night. They used to meditate. I love how meditation is associated with Eastern cultures when it's absolutely wrong. Romans meditated every night. It's not a meditation. It's a wrong word. Meditation. My bad. It's they did an introspection and reflected upon their daily lives action every night, and that should be something mandatory for any healthy society, if you ask me.
You can't hold anymore.
They would just meditate at night of all of their actions, in that sense. So we need more of that, if you ask me. More introspection individually, and that would solve a lot of problems. Now I read it. Hang on a second. I remove this.
You have no more room.
For hang on a second. I have this silly inventory. For me, life would be spineless if I all would if all I would do is train, go to school, and eat. I need something new. I think everyone needs something new. Exactly what I mentioned to you. I don't know if new, but as I as like in ancient Rome, at night, because I know everyone has to do their jobs, and I'm also not proposing like communism, and impossible to create idealist solution that leads nowhere. No, at night, uh, like in ancient Rome, I would make sure that people and really labor laws warranty this if people know how to make use of their time. Really, at night, at night, um, at least a moment of introspection, 10 minutes, half an hour, something like that. But I don't mean meditating like they do in movies and this modern shit of of this modern shit that now we are invaded by putreds, by this putrid idea that Eastern tradition is superior, and I said no, that the Chinese and the meditation, and I said no, no, no. I just mean an introspection about what we do here, of observing the universe, just observing the universe and reflecting upon your actions of the day. Just that. That is more useful than any of these shitty self-improvement, meditation, those things, like our Roman ancestors did.
You can't carry
Just
anymore.
reflecting upon your actions of the day, judging them, see how you can improve them, those things. Just, just that is more efficient than any
Your
meditation.
inventory is full.
Just thinking about those things. Uh, your actions, how to improve them, those things, if you ask me, in that sense. The life would be bad if you could do trade in the school and exactly well, but I bet you see, that for most people, sadly, it is like what you are describing. It is sadly like what you are describing, and it's an unconscious process. It's an unconscious process, like when you are driving. For a lot of people, driving is an unconscious process. It's automatic. People should stop doing things automatically. Routines cause you to do things automatically, and that should always be avoided. That should always be avoided, in that sense. I don't know if you've seen. It's something I often struggle with, the social media short form of videos. I think it's a very easy way to escape everyday life, but after I waste my time, I feel empty. When I read it is not exciting, not, but it is fulfilling. After that, I feel I did something for my own sake. And well, in my case, I cannot help you because I don't have any social media, Patrick. I think I told it on stream to Patrick, but you weren't that day. To I told it to District on stream, but you weren't that day, Patrick. Um, I told it to District, I remember, some 3 weeks ago. I don't have any social media. Only the Discord and, well, but it's private even. It's private and it's just for me talking with you guys precisely. And this and YouTube. I don't use any social media. I cannot help you with that. It's addicting. No, it affects the cortex of the brain. It gives it a stimulus that reduces the attention span. it reduces your attention span. The attention span. The duration of your ability to concentrate, the TikTok reels and the Instagram reels. It reduces your ability to concentrate, to focus on a specific topic for prolonged periods of time. Because it's 5 seconds and next, 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 and that reduces the attention span of the brain directly. Uh, why? Because it's just switching from one topic to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, and you never. The brain is a muscle at the end of the day as well, so it needs to be trained on what it with, with on what it needs to do, which in this case is neural connections. And you cannot train a muscle to do neural connections if you are changing from one topic to another, one topic to another, one topic to another, one topic to another. I had this discussion with with someone in Star Wars: The Republic offline some days ago as well. In that sense, and I had the same explanation. It's one topic to another, from one topic to another, one topic to another, and the train cannot establish. You don't give it time to establish the neural connections required to focus on a specific topic for prolonged periods of time. This is the reason why, in my high school, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. 2008, no, 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Wasn't that long ago. But directly the headmaster prohibited phones. The headmaster prohibited phones. Anyone who was in with a phone would need to leave it at the entrance of the school, and was returned after the day ended. And well, I would prohibit social media to anyone under 18. Sorry, Patrick. sorry. Especially, well, if I ever have children, it will be like that, and anyone the same for the educational system in general. I would prohibit social media to anyone under 18. Because of what I said, it destroys the potential to establish neural connections of the brain by switching from one topic to another, one topic to another, one topic to another. 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. It's like that, right? I have never seen an Instagram or which is the other one? TikTok. Reel. They are called reels, right? 5 seconds. They are just 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, right? It's something like that, what you are mentioning. One after another, that they automatically reproduce. In that sense, right? On your phone. Like it's one after another automatically. It's like that. It's not like YouTube that you can like choose a topic, one video, then another one. You can disable autoplay. It's not like that. It's like on the phone, one after another, one after another. It's like that, what you describe. That you feel empty. Yes, indeed. Well, it may be unpopular what I say, but I would prohibit social media until the brain is developed. And even so, well, if afterwards you don't want to even watch it for the rest of your life like I do, well, better. But in your case, because of the age especially...
How dare you kill my boar and desecrate this place, foreigner? Don't you know it belongs to the Aesir? Your friend is not here.
Hey, this is the floor of my home.
This is the floor of my home.
Danubian floor is called. People, this is the Danubian floor. It was quite popular in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It takes a lot of time to create that pattern, that distinctive pattern. Quite expensive as well. My grandfather did it. when he bought this home. You have to kind of like place every single piece like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to place them one by one. Nowadays, floors are like made kind of like as a single unit. Was about the social media picture, I left you speechless about the social media when I told you that. You know, we are only one generation of difference, but I can tell you that I would directly suggest you to. I have usual teenager problems, so talking about my struggles sometimes feels like it's not worthy because I'm that young. No, don't you worry. You're you are extremely mature for that. Usual teenager problems. Talking about the social media, you have probably you feel you struggle with the social media that you watch the reels that they are one after the other. Yeah, it's absolutely usual. Don't feel in that sense that I accuse you. I know that most do it at your age. I would personally prohibit it on like a nationwide ban on any country. I would I would I would govern, which is never going to happen, fortunately. But yes, it's what I tell you. Be aware that it reduces the attention span of the brain. It then reduces the attention span of the brain. And what's a real it's the most useful reels. I'm trying. No, Patrick. Look, Patrick. The fact that you listen to this, the fact that you can listen to me for 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds only, right from the beginning, is already a miracle. You are already in the top 5 people of your generation, in that sense, because of how bad things are now. I wish it was because of different reasons in any other context, but it's because of that right now. Only because of that. Most people of your age, do you really think they would be able to at least listen to me for 5 seconds? No. 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 Really no. No. All of you, that's why I always tell you that you are all incredible because of your incredibly mature minds. You all, I don't need to know any of you. I just I just know they can even listen to me for 5 seconds. Can tell me well if my imagine that. Well, that's why I really don't need to know each of you to know you're all uh, on the intelligent side of the population. I do it on purpose. I do it on purpose. I speak about these topics also on purpose to filter ignorant people from my streams. I do it on purpose. The person has needs to have the bare minimum. The bare minimum is the curiosity and open mind to at least listen for more than 5 seconds. It's like, see that I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking people to explain, to debate against my realism or to do any kind of shit. No. Just listen for 5 fucking seconds. Like the bare minimum. That's why I don't need to know each of you to know that each of you personally to know that you are all on the intelligent side of the population, and I do and that you are all incredibly mature. I you are like already filtered by default because of how I structure the content in that sense. Incredibly, they can even listen to me for 5 seconds. KW. Well, see, that's a huge problem. How are they going to do in the future in their jobs? Not all of them will be like 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 shit. That stun. I love how I killed the boss perfectly first try, and then a random puny NPC has a hard stand that is an auto kill. I love that. I love that. How are they going to do in their everyday lives when they have to listen to, I don't know, their precisely as we were talking? How are they going to be mature and live alone and and, and sorry and 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 live at their own houses and etc. If they cannot even listen to their fucking partners, the men cannot listen to the women, and vice versa for 5 seconds. How is any meaningful relationship going to come out of that if they cannot fucking listen to each other for 5 seconds? If you're telling me they don't even listen to me for 5 seconds, well, how? And see that I'm not asking, explain me, um, explain me the evolution of humanity or anything. Nothing complex. Just listen to another person for 5 seconds. Pick a person, any that you like spending time with, that for whatever reason you think it's interesting, and listen for 5 seconds. The bare minimum. And they can't. They start like this. They start like this with the phone. Ah, yeah, right. Ah, yeah. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That thing, that thing, that thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Imagine that shit. Imagine that shit. How is any meaningful human relationship in general going to flourish out of that fucking situation? How? If anyone can explain me, I will gladly say that I'm wrong, but I don't see how anyone could explain me that. And you're telling me that they are your age and they cannot listen to you for 5 seconds. Not crazy race or with his metaphysics and everything that could drive anyone crazy. But but you. Just like that. Oh, that's a brutal ring. What's this? 15% strength? Well, this one is 25. I don't know what I'm getting surprised at, but this one has the energy drink. Okay, well, we'll compensate those. They can't even listen to you for. And how does it make you feel, Patrick? How does it make you feel that they don't listen to you for 5 seconds? It makes you feel bad, I bet. It makes you feel bad. You understand as the older generation. Well, older. I don't feel that old, people, at all. Only 29.
You can't carry anymore.
I mean, that stupid spear is always the same shit with the inventory. Let me open a portal. My friend just switched to an no. I love this story. Please never stop telling it to me. So your friend that had the problems with the toxic, I know, with the toxic substances, I presume. Your friend just switched to an easier. He switched to an easier topic. Um, like you were talking about the future, university, jobs, dreams, and yeah, like projecting yourself in the future. And they just switched to the topic of we'll watch a football match Saturday. No, it's okay that you have that they have activities to 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 distract their minds. I don't like football. I must be the only EU person who doesn't like football. On top of that, Argentine who are fanatics of football. But regardless of the topic, video games or whatever, it's good to have those hobbies. Yes, always, precisely. But not being able, I hate football as well. Oh, I didn't expect that one. As you liked doing exercise. Yeah, you are the only Argentine that hates football, though. Okay, okay. I see that we are famous for something. I see that we are famous for something. I see that we are famous for something, at least. Uh, that's an interesting topic. Wait, Patrick. About your friends? Yes, the inability to protect yourself is a huge limitation of the brain. It's absolutely amazing that you can do it. In that sense, you hate football. That surprises me because you do like exercise. Contrary to 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 you, I generally don't move in general. It's like I never like doing exercise. I swimmed like um I practiced swimming as like a sport for a lot of time and etc. But no, it's not something that I would that I would. I know how to swim perfectly, but it was more for a case of security in case I had to resort to it. If any ship would sink, that know how to survive in that sense. But I know how to swim very well. I do so well. You hated football. You are the only answer. I have a question, Patrick. What did you knew about Argentines before you met me? Because with that phrase, it must be something that you are at least knew something about the existence of this remote country. You, what were your expectations the first time you saw me? It's a quite interesting thought that I always have about people because of how remote my country really is. I bet you were brutally surprised by some of the things because besides on top of that, people, it's true that South American countries don't have the image of having precisely refined intellectual people. You guys are good in football. The Latina girls, no, no, that part is more of Central America. That one is more of Central America. That part is more Central America, or of Central, like Southern. Well, that's the problem. I hate football. I was forced to play that shit in high school, and I simply wouldn't move. I like British, Irish, Scottish, even American, Canadian girls instead, more Anglo-Saxon. And the last part, I would execute the drag lords on the spot. So the three of them were the opposite. The three of them. No, no, no. I know that South American, that South American countries have the image of being underdeveloped, and it's true for a lot of them. It is true.
No human,
It is true.
not
I
even
am.
you, can follow them to Asgard from the shrine.
Yes, that's the idea. We're going to Asgard. No, I know they don't have the image of being the most intellectual ever, of being the most intellectual countries ever, of being underdeveloped. I know it's like that, but it's absolutely natural because I know that most people have the image that Argentines are like Mexicans, or that we are like fucking like Central America. With and really, it's not the case. I think I told you why. Um, but very briefly, it's because in Central America there was African slave trade and migration. Here we were so much to the south that really there was no slave trade, first, and second, we didn't mix with the local population. We are more like the United States. You guys rich, we are poor. Look at me, you have robots to bring the pizza to your home. We have no, it's not like that, Patrick. It's not like that. It's not like that. No. The continent is underdeveloped depending on the region. No. That would be the United States, the mighty United States, not us down here. Well, it is true that we don't have robots, but we do have people who we have apps that that's are the usual stereotypes, like Argentines or like South American in general. No, or like you meant European. in general. No, I live in the Americas, remember. No, South America does not have the image of being rich, precisely. The resources of the land are, yes, that is true,
My dear
but they are not exploited. We are a depopulated country with all of the riches below the ground, and they are unexploited. Since we don't have that much population, we have room, and really they are lazy. They are lazy. They don't exploit the resources like the great mighty United States in that sense. You guys are all the same to us, Balkan. Not for me though. Ah, so there's not much distinction between like South Americans and no, there has to be like between South Americans and Europeans. Yes, the thing that you could mean is between Central American and South American. Maybe you meant that one. Yeah, that one is a typical stereotype that everyone believes that everything to the south of Mexico is like Mexico, but then I bet it must have been a surprise. The pizza to your home. No, and it's not like that, Patrick. Uh, it's not like that. The Balkans are not poor, precisely. The Balkans are not poor, trust me. The Balkans are not poor. They are beautiful. It's a beautiful zone. It's an absolutely beautiful zone. You have historic uh, buildings and great industries of knowledge that you use to the full extent of their capabilities. It's not like that. Sounds like, for example, Slovakia, for example, there to the east of northern Italy, have a very high human development index, for example, and where you are as well, and where you are as well, and where you are as well. Last time I checked, all the Balkans had more or less a high human development index. In the case that you meant it uh, like the similarity with between Central America and South America, as I said, it is completely different. Mexicans mixed and Central Americans mixed with the native population of the Americas. In our case, we didn't. We didn't. We didn't. We were like the United States and Canada. In the case of Argentina, the southernmost cone. In that sense, we were European colonizers, like you guys there, Europeans, but that took the boats because of World War II in a lot of cases. It's more recent than what most people think. I am only third generation or fourth generation. Sorry, it's more recent. A lot of people think that most of the population migrated here during precisely Columbus's expedition. By the way, my last that's my last name. um, and well, uh, it wasn't like that. Most of the population came here after World War II. We are more recent than what most imagine. The United States is the one that had a longer period of colonization. That's why it's more stable. They had more time in that sense. Here it was depopulated, honestly, for a lot of time. In that sense. Quite interesting. So I am the first, I must be the only Argentine who dislikes football. That is true. That is true. I have been unable to find a single person that dislikes football in here. It is true. 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 Hungary is very depressed country. You suffered many world. Yeah, I bet what you mean. I bet what you mean. After World War One, many government change like communist Hungary. We have now a terrible fake liberal minister. Then thousands of these gotten isn't it? Okay. I get it. I get it. You mean World War One? It was when well, but I told you what would need to be my reaction then if if precisely I compare the extension of the territory of Italy at the height of the Roman Empire, which was basically all of Europe, plus some more in Middle East, all the way up to almost up to Egypt there, uh, all the way, all of that, basically the whole world, and then Italy was reduced to what it is now. What would be my reaction? I would need to say that my ancestors were failures, and no, they were not. They were not, and not only mine, they are yours as well. We all derive from there. We all derive from there. If you're in Europe, at the end of the day, um, uh, I would need to say that they are failures. No, they are not. They are not. We appreciate their sacrifices in that sense. You are mentioning it because in World War One, Hungary was reduced from the original Austro-Hungary. Maybe you mean that. Uh, and yeah, when they separated, I don't know precisely the details of that one as it's modern history, and I didn't dwell that much into modern history. That would be my blind spot. But pretty much, if I remember correctly, it's because of that. It's because of separation from Austria after World War One that it was reduced. And regarding the current situation, that then, of course, the Soviet Union took that. Well, yeah, it's like that. All of that zone was affected by that. If it makes you feel better, even here in a remote land where I am, the Soviet Union did influence a country called Cuba in Central America, right? That island that caused so many problems to the United States. We lost Transylvania as well. Well, yes, that zone. Yeah, the zone to the west. But it's still a beautiful country, Patrick. Trust me, all of that zone is absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. You have buildings and history that other countries can only envy to have. For example, where I live, since we are a younger nation, we don't have those amazing, beautiful castles. We don't have those. We have skyscrapers. Like I showed to Ambra at the other yesterday. I showed him where I live. The city, and he showed me some Polish cities. If you watch the VOD, in that sense, we did a bit of a tour through the world. But yeah, pretty much. No. Trust me that you're on the lucky side. You're on the lucky side of countries. Trust me. Maybe it is true. It is true that I would be scared of being attacked or invaded by Russia because of being close. But beyond that, yeah, Hungary is beautiful. Budapest is like a literature. For an American guy, when you say American, be careful because that would be interpreted as the fact that you are saying that I'm a citizen of the United States, and I'm not. When you say American, be careful because anyone will understand that you are saying United States. In British tradition that was inherited in the US, in English tradition, it's like this. South America is a different continent from North America, even if it's the same mass of territory. For us, it's not, and that's why I understand what you are saying. But yeah. That's why I get it. But no, it's like the denomination for a citizen of the United States. In my case, it would be South American in that case. In that case, but I get it perfectly. For anyone from the Americas, would be just in case anyone has from the US. If you ever talk to someone from the US, they will have a weird reaction to that. They will have a weird reaction. But regarding Transylvania, yes, it's a beautiful zone, and etc. And pretty much trust me that you are on the lucky side. You are on the lucky side. You are on the lucky side of things. I would be scared, as I was mentioning to you, being so close to Russia and the armed conflict there, I would be scared of that. I would be scared of that. Being close to that, I told this district as well. I told this to district as well that he's from Romania. I would be scared, but not because of anything, but because of psychopath launches weapon of mass destruction, right? Fucking missile or something like that. Oh, a mistake. It was meant to go somewhere else. Ah, but my home was there. Oh well, your home was destroyed. Like, well, it wasn't for you, yeah, right. And now who's paying for this shit? Or even my own life? Because of that. Because of human errors more than anything. Yes, that part, yes. I would be, it would scare the shit out of me. And that's why I admire your brave to deal with that neighbor. I would have a last question for human behavior before I go. But just wait before I fire a question, no worries. But just so you see, here in a remote land, so you feel better. In a remote land, right? Arctic. Drop frames. What the fuck? Ah, it's because of the stupid cave. There? What about there? There we go. In the Antarctic. Right? Absolutely remote land. Soviet Union. It influenced a small island called Cuba. Cuba, that caused a lot of problems to the United States. It was like a Soviet base in the Caribbean. Then its influence expanded to another country called Venezuela. That is the one that Donald Trump wants to finally get rid of. Dictator there these days. And from there to a lot of countries in South America. So we were in a pretty similar situation to the Balkans politically in terms of the influence during the Cold War, 90s and 80s. So you can see that even if we are remote, the problems that the Soviet Union caused to you, the Balkans, they also caused them here. So yeah, pretty much. Don't think it was only there. I can assure you. I can assure you. We are still living the consequences of that. So see that it's not just you guys with your neighbor. Your neighbor extends its influence a lot, even sadly here. But well, in our case, we've always been disputed between the United States and that. Unfortunately, nowadays the United States is winning. Fortunately. Sorry, which was your last question? I didn't mean to bore you with this, Patrick. I never mean to bore you with all of my crazy comments, with all of those things. But yeah, pretty much. Why do people envy others? You are single, but I still sometimes envy people with girlfriend. Even if I try my best to be rational, I feel that I deserve love someone. Well, Patrick, don't feel like that. Don't feel like that. I also sadly do not know love yet. It is true that in my case, I care more about prolonging my bloodline, and that can even be done through a lab. It's through a laboratory, but it is true that love should it's an absolutely miserable situation what we live in which women are told that we are some kind of monsters, and the girls are victims as well. Trust me, they are victims as well. They just don't understand why nor how it happened. They are also victims as well of it's because of the Obama administration, the current situation. It's absolutely disgusting how they are trying to destroy the human relationships between men and women. If you want an answer to that first, it's because they know that when men and women are together, they are they can truly achieve what they are meant to be in that sense, and the reproduction of our species. and they want to destroy that because they are fucking evil, sadly. They are fucking evil people because they do not care, really, because they are hedonists and relativists, precisely, because of everything that we've discussed. So, in the case of your question, why do people's why can someone envy other? It can be frustration. I believe love is one of the most important things in life. It's like the ultimate spice for your life. Without love, it would be empty. You are absolutely true about it, and never feel embarrassed because of that. Never feel embarrassed because of that. You are absolutely right. And the situation we are in is absolutely uh, anomalous. It's absolutely unnatural, and it will change. And it will change. I have absolute faith that it has already changed. In fact, the second Donald Trump won the presidency, I think it has already changed. This madness has I think it's already dying, and it has already finished. This madness of the last 10 years. You just had the misfortune of We all had the misfortune, because it affected me as well. Uh, of being born in a convoluted period like this. But what you are mentioning, why people envy others, uh, in your case, to be rational, I feel that you do this. We all deserve love as well. We all do. We all do, Patrick. You are right about that. You are right. Never doubt those words. Never doubt those words. It is true. And trust me that precisely that's why I mentioned the previous thing. If we had been born in a different, not that much different, just 10 more years ago, we wouldn't even be thinking about this at all. We wouldn't even be thinking about this at all, because the relationships were natural, were absolutely natural, and they will return to do so. And when they do, I can only pray that we all are still, especially women. You know that the most affected are actually women. Sadly, I know it doesn't look like it because we are the ones like rejected or accused of terrible things, but the real, believe it or not, they are the primary target. Why I'm telling you this? Why? Because well, I don't know. I don't know if your parents told you this much. Women can only have children up until, more or less, depending on the case, biology is different, up to 35 years, 40 in most, in a healthy case, and those things. Men can really have children. We can have children almost until we die. That's why they are the true victims, in that sense. And well, in the case of envy, in the in other contexts, I would have replied that is because the person, in that sense, has a personal frustration and everything. But in the case of this specific context, in the case of this specific context, uh, it's absolutely natural what you are feeling, because I also feel it. By the way, I also feel it exactly like what you described. Not maybe the envy itself, because I personally have reasons to say that uh, more than one person would like to be in my situation and those things. Personally, it has to do with how you perceive yourself. In that sense, I would try to perceive myself in a better way, Patrick, because you're intelligent, without a doubt. So there's really no reason for you to perceive yourself like that. I know that if you are rejected and those things that of course happen to me as well, what you're mentioning and etc., um, can be frustrating. Can be frustrating, but I would ask you to always ask yourself why. Why the person behaved like it behaved, Or why do those other people behave like they behave? Why do they behave like they behave? And if you ask yourself that question, I have to tell you the answer in the case of the girls, because I told you that they are the victims. Precisely, they behave like that because sadly they've been told that they shouldn't have any responsibility in life. So sadly they are taught to be shallow. They don't even understand why nor what, but it's what they are being fed. Um, but I have good news for you. I have good news for you. I have good news for you. Do not lose hope, just like I do not lose it, that for every girl, in this case, for every girl that is not intelligent enough to tell that she's being manipulated, there will be another that will tell all of those bad people that I have been mentioning to go fuck themselves. Sorry, people, it's like that. That will tell them to go to shit. That will perceive the damage that they are doing. That will perceive the damage that they are doing. They will perceive the damage that they are doing, and will absolutely love you. The challenge, of course, is finding that person, because of how they are trying to isolate us from each other. That is a problem. But trust me, think about this always. One, why they are acting like they acting, and men as well. Why do people act like they act? Why is she acting like this? What could lead a person to act like this? And you will reach the conclusion that the person is a victim at the end of the day. In the modern context, I can assure you that they are poor victims of it. Second, what I told you, for each one that will be ignorant and will sadly, those yes will sadly die alone, and it will be way too late because of what I told you about biology, that they won't be able to have children that will take care of them when they are older, which is something that they don't even think about. I don't know when's the last time you heard that from 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 someone, especially from a girl, that they are thinking about not dying alone because they won't have children. It's something that is not heard nowadays because they are told you must be free, free, free. The lie is targeted at that age. See, that is pretty well designed. They just want to fool them when they are young and they are in an age to have children, up to 35, etc., or at least up to 30, so they remain isolated as much as they can. So let me wrap up the concept. Now I read it. Pretty much, be sure you and everyone else watching. This is my prediction. For every one of those girls that are cruel because of what they've been fed and everything, for each one of them, there will be another that will be like our mothers and our grandmothers and will be a reasonable person. I'm just mentioning that. I'm not mentioning being a slave, cooking all day. I'm not mentioning any of those shits at all. No one should be a slave. It's perfect that people are free, and etc. etc. I'm just mentioning being reasonable. And by being reasonable, I mean not believing in the lies of these disgusting people that I'm telling you with the philosophy of the Obama administration, basically, of not having any responsibility. For each one of them that don't want to have children or any responsibility, there will be another one that will. And what will happen? In the case of men, we can have children up until almost the day we die. They can't. Because of that, there will be a division, there will be let's say, natural selection, because it's like that. You can't go against fucking biology. And while we will have years and years and years to fix the damage that they've done, in the case of the first group, they won't have that. We can freeze stuff in labs, only the people with a lot of money. That's expensive. Only the ones with a lot of money. That is expensive. Because you can freeze the part of the woman that, let's say, just like that is needed to have children, basically like that. You can do it, but it's extremely expensive. It's not for the average person. Most of the population will suffer the situation that I mentioned. Yeah, dating for me is often boring because dating in my age is not about goals, dreams, philosophy, observations. Instead, what car do you drive? Which, well, basically, how basic are you? No, I would. I'll tell you not what I would, but what I did. Any person who is remotely similar to that, I would discard the person immediately. I'm sorry, I would discard the person immediately. Without a doubt. If a person cannot hold a normal conversation for a decent amount of time, I would. I know, Patrick, that what I'm mentioning sounds like out of touch with reality because of how much damage it's been done, but I trust that the damage will be repaired. The damage will. It has already begun to repair itself. And I do believe that there will be that this second group that I mentioned that will realize of how much damage it's been caused to them will grow and grow and grow to a point in which they will finally beat the group of psychopaths because it's a psychopathy being cruel like it's being done in a lot of cases. And being absolutely shallow and not having any responsibility or a care in the world. Trust in those that will compensate the first group, which is the one that you are referring to. There will be a second group that is the one that throughout history has really made society advance, while there was always a group of putrid illiterates eating any shit that they are being fed. There will be a second group that will be brave and mature among them that will fix this. Without a doubt. It has already happened, if you ask my opinion. And there's only one thing left, which is that they raise their voices. But trust me that I've seen the second group. I know people from the second group who deserve everything that the first group won't have. Trust me. Don't. I would suggest you to be aware of all of this situation, but do not antagonize all of them because they are victims. There will be a group that will do the right thing. There will be another that will do the evil thing, and there will be one that will do the right thing. And never doubt that there are evil and good decisions in life. It's objective. It's not a matter of mental perception. You can do things right or wrong objectively, like you told me about your friend and the addiction and those things. And regarding the envy thing that you mentioned, and it's absolutely natural because we've all seen better days. It's because we've seen better days of society. It's because we've seen better days. It deeply saddens me every time I hear this. It's not the first time. It happens to me as well, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I picture myself already having. I don't know if having children by my age, but yes, with a person. Yes, with a person. In my case, I want to have children a bit. I always wanted to have only one child, a bit older. I always wanted it because it's what my parents did, and I think it brings a lot of positive consequences. But whatever the case, I can get you, and it's an absolutely natural feeling that you should never, if you ask me, you should never be embarrassed of. This shit that they feed you nowadays, that we are meant to be some kind of fucking perfect citizens without any kind of problem and not express any feeling and those things. No, that is done all to suppress a love between men and women. That is not the case. But mark my words, mark my. You know Andrew Tate? I've heard about him. I've heard about him. I've heard about him. He's a British commentator or something like that. That was quite right wing and those things. I think he was British instead of American. I apply the same that you told me about the other one, the other American one, Nick Fuentes or something like that you mentioned. I do believe they are not intellectually prepared for what they are doing in a lot of cases. I do believe that. But that perception of society that there's something wrong, even if they do it by instinct, the part of perceiving the damage of Obama's status quo, I think they are not intellectually prepared to debate against it. But yes. I think I think it was British, the guy, and he was expelled, and he had to go to the Balkans or some shit like that because he was going to go to jail because of political correctness or some shit like that, something like that. I don't know what he says. I don't listen to modern stuff, as I tell you, in that sense. But mark my words regarding the other topic. It's absolutely natural. It's not your fault. In this case, it's not your fault at all. And there will be a group that will be better than the previous one. And that previous one will regret being so ignorant and illiterate. Sadly. But it will be too late. Because they will be way too old to not have children, and none of them will be rich enough as to freeze the ovule. I think it is something like that you can have children beyond that age. Mark my words that is going to happen. That's why I told you to go psychology, because you will have an army of frustrated people who won't be able to find love because of their own limitations in life. That's why I told you that. What does the person say? And why you mention it to me? Why you mention it to me? And what does the person say? I honestly do not know the any philosophy he could say. I'm telling you that they don't have the philosophy, the intellectual base to back it up, because they are all generally the famous ones, all quite similar between each other. I did an association there. I don't know exactly what he says, but I did an association that maybe if you know him, he's famous, and if he's famous, then generally it's because of getting internet clout, because doing, I don't know, the things that you described, doing extremist things, I don't know, like trying to draw attention rather than, well, what you see I like doing, which is analyzing the universe. It's like that. I don't know what the person specifically says. You would need to tell me. In that sense, you would need to tell me if you want my opinion on specifically what he says. I can give you my general deductions first. In that sense. More or less. Those are my general deductions, but without knowing what he says, I cannot Fuentes against he's a nationalist, basically. Okay, no, okay. I see. I see. I see. Well, in my case, Patrick, if we are talking about religion, I would say the most positive religion out of the three big ones, out of the three big ones. Sorry, I'll be a cliche. Out of Jewish religion, Islamic religion, and Christian religion. Sorry, it will be a classic take, I guess. I support a Christian religion. Even if I'm an atheist, I do support the culture derived from Christian religion. In that uh, sense, I don't mean the disgusting hatred that Eastern religions, let's say, have had for the one that you are mentioning. I think that on that specific case, I side with the United States because Europe in the past has already been attacked by Eastern religions, let's say. And so if I have to choose, I choose that. But if we are talking about the ideal scenario, I think none of the other two compare to the great positive influence of Christianity on society. None of the other two have created successful models that have helped humanity with the scale that Christianity did. Either Protestant with the British or Roman Catholic with us Italians and extending it into Europe. You know that I partly adhere to some ideas of Roman Catholic Christianity, and then regarding security and some other concepts like freedom, I agree a bit more with the American and British influence of Protestantism, especially with the concept of redemption. See that with these people. And he's a national. I am against generally nationalism. I believe in the nationalism of the most efficient person, of the most efficient. I believe that just like with human beings, in the case of human beings, what does enrich you, Patrick? Listening to human beings that are like what you perceive as intellectual, like you mentioned to me several times, and etc., or ones that you perceive as not that bright. No, you will generally be able, if you're intelligent like that, like you are precisely, you will detect the ones that are at least a bit, somehow, a bit more prepared, more intellectually prepared, and those things. And with countries, it's the same. I do not believe in saying, for example, nationalism would be Argentina is the best. Argentina is the best because I was born here, because we have the best food, because we have the best football, that shit that exists, etc., etc., etc. Or in your case, Hungary is the best because I was born here, it's what I've seen, is what I've been in contact with, and anything. Relativism is directly tied to the senses, while realism is directly tied to what the mind can deduce in that sense. Precisely what the mind can deduce. And I think it's much more valuable what your mind can deduce than what your senses can feed you. Why? Because in the mind resides logic, not in the senses. And it is true that nationalism works using through the senses, through your sight every day, through your ears, what you see, what you're in contact with. So that's why I think that individuals that are not nationalists are quite intelligent by default, generally. Now, with that said, he's a nationalist, you tell me. I would ask him why he's a nationalist for the United States. Why? And depending on the answer, if it's pretty well backed up, well, I could tell you why, if he has reasons as to behave like what he might behave, or not. In my case, what I can tell you, well, I think that, as I told you, Christianity has had a positive influence in the world, because it civilized a lot of Europe back then, and etc. So I do agree that the Roman Empire was a quite good influence, pretty much. All of our ancestors in Europe, basically, it wasn't just Italians. It's just that we directly lived there, like in a direct descendancy, but the rest of Europe is also tied to it. And then I am an Anglophile, as I tell you, for the British Empire. Why? Because the British also made a lot to civilize the world, continuing the work of the Roman Empire. And modernly, the United States fills that role. And I think there needs to be always a defender of the West, a huge defender of the West, because then otherwise they were Attila the Hun with the Huns, I don't know, the Soviet Union, China, Middle East powers with the Moor invasions in the Balkans and through Spain as well. In Spain was taken for a lot of time during medieval times. We were the Western Front. Well, you guys in the Balkans, you were the Eastern Front in the Moor invasions. So, because of all of that, the West has always been attacked by countries that precisely envied, you can see that here, envy can make terrible things, have envied the quality of life. It needs to have a big defender. I'll be honest with you, I really do not care. I know it's a quite cold stance. But I really do not care about the name of the defender. If it was us, Italians, Roman Empire, and etc. in the past, if it was the Germanic empire for a time and then derived into something shitty and crazy and went to shit, or if it was the British and the United States. I really do not care about names. I will go to sleep now. Thank you for the stream as always. Have a great night and stay a crazy philosopher as you mentioned a lot. W. Okay, Patrick. Have a great night and hope my thoughts are always useful. You told me one or two times, but I know they are divisive. My opinions. I know they are divisive, Patrick. I know my perception is divisive in that sense. Please, that never feel like I say it with any other intention other than giving you my honest thought. I know it quite divisive. That what I just said is like it feels like I have no feelings, but it's like that. It's not that I don't have feelings. I give objective reasons as to why. Oh well, Patrick. You appreciate them. That's the important thing. You appreciate them. That's the important thing. That if you appreciate, I will always give you my honest thoughts. It's what I can offer you. You will, and if you appreciate them, even more. I know they are divisive. I know they are quite divisive. But again, I do believe there has to always be a defender of the West. And if in our time it's called the United States, then so be it. And we should support it. It's like that. I must have the craziest opinions for people. But well, you get no. What I like, you know what it is, people.
But I am here
that you can see I perceive the good part of the United States, the good part of the British Empire, and the good part of Rome, in the sense of the three huge powers that we've had in the West, and the Germanic Empire as well before it went to shit, and etc. More in the 1600s, I'm talking, when I mentioned the Germanic Roman Empire, which was a continuation at the end of
I
the day.
would guess Ilva.
So you can see that I have those things. Hey, it's been an hour and 45 minutes of me talking about those giving divisive opinions. People, everyone must hate me by now over at
Yes,
YouTube.
Ginger.
Everyone must hate me of giving terribly divisive opinions. In that sense. Okay. No, but as long as you appreciate it, it's
This
always good.
scarf, my husband's.
Okay, how do I proceed with this shit? So yeah, I if in our times the defender of the West is the United States, uh, I would always be right behind it in, in in that sense. In that sense, just like I would have been in ancient Rome with Rome, and just like I would have been with the British Empire back then, and I say it absolutely openly. I like Western civilization, and it's what it's and Christianity, either on the side of Roman Catholic or Protestant. In that sense, it really there is not much of a difference in my opinion. I know that there was a division, but it's minor in comparison to the other two. In that sense, in that sense. So yeah, pretty much. Uh, everyone must hate me by now. Wow, people, everyone must hate me. 100%. Everyone must hate me with the things that I say. Everyone must absolutely hate me. But well, people, you need to be brave about your own thoughts and etc. You need to be brave, even if and being brave does not mean grabbing a sword and going to a war. It means having the good judgment to make good decisions and taking responsibility for them. For example, people, if I ever get banned for saying these things, imagine, even if I say them with utmost respect always and everything, and really there wouldn't be a justification for people to hate me. That is based on logic, because of how many logical reasons I give and how polite I am when saying those things. But really, if I would jump to another platform, I guess. I would jump to another platform. No, it is true that I disagree with some of the things that precisely Patrick mentioned me over at Discord previously about doing salutes and etc. And saying divisive things like just for the sake of saying them. No, if you're saying a divisive thing, say it backed with a lot of evidence and a lot of thought behind it, because otherwise it can backlash. It can bounce back at you. In that sense, I would agree on that. Okay. In case you haven't noticed, people, I'm a bit lost. Well, lost. I think I've already cleared the whole zone. I presume I have to enter over there to this mountain or some shit like that. I've already cleared the whole map. I don't know exactly what I have to do. I got so caught up in thought. Talk to Neilbad about ferrying you to the Darklands. Okay, if I can find the person. The question is where. The Darklands. We have to go to Asgard, people. Oh, I hate this moment in which I'm lost in the game. This zone is quite open world. This zone is massive. But due to so I have to find some. I have to somehow find water. I'm fucking lost in a forest. See, now we know how our ancestors lived. So I went over there. Maybe I have to proceed through there. I don't know. No, because this is where I'm. This is where I went to. I mean, I'm fucking lost in a forest. There we go, people. Ah, I left the portal here. Maybe we had to take another turn. We have to return and take another different turn. Going somewhere else. Here? No, this does feel like a dead end. Where we looted that thing. Yes, change the location of the portal. Take me back there. And maybe I have to go to the south instead. Maybe I have to go to the south instead. That could be a solution. That could be a solution. Maybe I have to report back.
There is a small settlement named Cowpinger we sometimes trade with. Their leader should know more.
I have to go back to the mountain? No, to the mountain, no, to the boat? Oh, darn it. Where the fuck? Where do you pretend me to go? Do I have to go back to the boat or what? Talk to Nebold about taking you to the Northland, to Asgard. I don't know where the fuck. I don't know where the fuck he has to take me, but he has to take me somewhere. This is a dead end. Huh? Someone's alive? Something is alive. Yeah. I'm just rotating in circles. I'm just going around in circles. I'm just running around in circles. People, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to fucking go, people. Maybe we have to go. Maybe we have to go back to the boat. It's all part of the situation. Nebold. Maybe it's that guy over there. You? Nebold, yeah.
You got my fur con? What? What do you mean he ordered? Really? How do I know? By hell, that's just rude. Fine, fine. Get on board.
Yes. Here there was a bug that, if I remember correctly, I don't know what shit I did back in the day, that you could explore the whole map. Where was that bug? I remember it. I did this shit back in the day. Let me try. I did this shit. I don't know if it was through here or here. There was a bug. Maybe they patched it. That you could explore the whole the whole map until the end. You could see all of the ocean. You can see that I have it explored on my normal playthrough. It has to be. Where is it? Hang on a second. I want to show it to you, just in case. Maybe it was that one.